Our wire here is a bit loose. Luckily, it's an easy fix. Just cut off both ends of the cable clip and hammer it back with a nail. Next, we're making a duster drill bit. Cut the slits into both ends of one piece of paper and leave the other one whole. Create a notch in the dowel and glue 2 pieces of paper inside this notch. Now we can dust off our woodworking projects. Sometimes it's better to keep things simple. Here we're using a metal plate and a zip tie as an anchor to secure this pipe to the wall. Instead of throwing away this old shovel, we can turn it into a post hole digger. Scrape off the rust and cut off the shovel blade into a square. Use a vise to straighten the edges and then bend it back into a cylinder shape. Hit it with a few coats of spray paint and now you can start digging. To make it easier to find the end of the tape, most people just fold the tape back on itself, creating a tab. Instead of folding the tape on itself and leaving a tab of unused tape, it's better to fold the tape backwards. It makes the tape easier to grab, and the result is less unused tape. We can make a temporary foam brush to apply wood stain by clipping this small sponge. We can also use another clothespin to remove the old sponge and keep our hands clean. Here's a quick makeshift utility knife. Hot glue a razor blade to the teeth of a comb and let it dry. Now we can cut things like paper, aluminum foil, and foam. Here's a little trick if you have a screw that keeps slipping. Grab a piece of duct tape and put it on the end of a drill bit. Press down firmly. That should give it some extra bite. Every project could use an extra pair of hands. But what can we do if we don't have an assistant? We can build a simple stand using 2 pieces of wood, a single hinge, and some 100 grit sandpaper. We're going to use this extra piece of 2x4 to adjust the height of the stand to the appropriate height. If you need to reseal a glass bottle, we can cut off the top of a plastic bottle and then use a lighter to heat the plastic around it until it shrinks around the edge of the glass bottle. We can turn this old bike chain into an adjustable homemade wrench. We'll secure some square tubing in a vise and weld on one of the ends of the chain to the outside. Then tuck the remainder of the chain inside the square tube. When ready to use, pull out the chain to the appropriate length, squeeze, and then twist. It looks like this chair is a little worn out. We can make use of the legs by turning them into a spray paint turntable. This one is extremely simple. We're not even securing the pieces together. But you can add complexity to fit the needs of your projects. Next, we're making a DIY door closer to prevent the door from being slammed. Essentially, we're welding a nut to some rebar and then welding a spring perpendicular to the rebar. Next, we'll create a frame to hold everything together. Secure the spring, then pass the bolt through the nut like so, and secure it on both ends. Now we'll mount the door closer to the wall, then pass the rebar through the bracket and mount the bracket itself to the door. Now let's build a portable light bulb. Cut off the end of the extension cord for the plug. Glue the base of the light bulb to the plug and wrap the electrical wires around the appropriate screws and tighten. Twist on the casing and screw in the light bulb. Plug it in directly to the outlet. Our wooden clamps aren't as stable as we'd like them to be. We can fix that with a little bit of foam. Cut out some hand-sized blocks using a utility knife. Then heat the bar with a blowtorch. Now press the heated bar onto the foam block and then remove it. We'll repeat this a few more times, and now we've got some foam block stands. Sometimes glue dries and gets stuck in the nozzle, making it difficult to open. We can cut an oval-shaped wood tab to make things easier. Insert the nozzle into the wooden tab and then attach the nozzle back onto the lid. This gives us a little extra leverage. Here's a quick way to hold 2 pieces of wood together while the glue dries. Attach binder clips to one end and then hold everything in place by wrapping rubber bands around the 2 pieces of wood. You can wrap this wire around the thread of a bolt to make a little spring. Driving screws into wood can be a bit difficult if the screw is long enough. We can add a bit of WD-40 to make the job easier. To fasten these 2 pieces of wood together, we'll drill 2 pilot holes at a 45-degree angle. Then we'll install wood screws to secure the post. If our outlet's hanging too loose, we can add pieces of scrap wood into the outlet box to better secure the outlet. Now when we reinstall the outlet plate, it doesn't budge. We can use some steel wire to wrap around this tubing to secure it to this fitting. Wrap the wire with the screwdriver until the excess falls off. For our next DIY project, we'll be making a claw rake. We'll start by cutting some rebar. We'll cut 6 pieces, with the last one being longer than the rest. Sharpen the tips on the 5 and then weld them together at the base. Now we'll place this in the vise and bend each tine to a 90-degree angle. Then we'll weld our last piece onto the end. We'll use our lathe to give our rake a nice wooden handle. If regular nails won't hold this board down, try using rivet nails. If the vinyl starts to come off of this MDF, just use a bit of hot glue and then press it down with a block of wood. Our Wi-Fi signal isn't as strong as we'd like it to be. We can cut open this can of soda and flatten it out. Then place it behind the antenna for better reach. If we need to inflate this air mattress, we can use an industrial vacuum cleaner to help us out. We'll install the hose on the opposite side so that it blows air. And in case the hose doesn't fit to the mattress, we can use this old adhesive tube to make an attachment. Tape the tube to the vacuum hose and then connect it to the mattress. Now we just let the vacuum pump in the air. Our jigsaw has a fan that creates a bit of air. Using this plastic fitting, we can direct the air down to the front of the blade to keep the dust from getting stuck inside of the blade. Our next project is a stand for fishing poles. We'll need a PVC pipe and some foam tubing. We'll mount the PVC pipe onto the bottom of the stand. Then we'll attach the foam tubing just above it. Now we can place our fishing poles just like so. If we need to attach these 2 pipes at a right angle, we can use a pair of scissors to act as a compass to give us a rough guide where to cut. It should look something like this before, and it should look like this after the pipe's been cut. A little trick to keeping pizza a bit warmer on the drive home is just to turn on the seat warmers. You can use a binder clip in cases where you've lost the plastic cover to prevent the razor from accidentally making any cuts. To prevent this board from splitting, you'll want to drill a pilot hole beforehand. You can do this by drilling a bit in reverse. We can use this piece of plastic to ensure clean cuts with our jigsaw. We'll attach the plastic shield to the bottom of our jigsaw using some double-sided tape. Now when we make our cuts, the wood doesn't chip. Try flipping the wrench after every turn for maximum leverage. If we want to cool down a can of soda a bit faster, we can wrap a few napkins around the can and then wet the napkins and then place it in the freezer. After about 30 minutes, our soda will be nice and cold.